Hello guys, welcome to today's video. Today is a 6-star rank 2 Gorr breakdown guide, just to show the damage that you can do at a 6-star rank 2 and the damage that he'll be able to do as a rank 3, a rank 4. Hopefully this will be quick and easy, give you a better understanding of how best to play Gorr, how he'll really work, and then we'll jump into some of the long fight, short fight videos, just to say what he's got, how useful this this will be as I turn off low power mode, excuse me for that, and just show how useful he can be and how he's so good now after his buff. He was already handy before his buff, but now you don't need that sig ability. You're able to maintain some of those shadow magic buffs without it. So let's jump into it. He's always immune to heal block. He doesn't heal from willpower, which is a bit of a negative. However, every point you have in willpower gives you a vicious buff. This vicious buff it's constant, it's indefinite, so it never falls off, and you get 1 per mastery point you've got. If you've got the 3 points, you get the 3 vicious buffs, increases your damage over time by 75%, which is really nice. He also has a Hersey, and that's just, you just gain 1 for every fight against a god or an elder. But this is sort of where the real detail comes in. So Gorr has 3 shadow magic buffs. These are the little grey icons below Gorr's health bar in a fight, which we'll get to in a minute. They each last 30 seconds and allow him to put however many of those shadow magic buffs there are onto the opponent. Gorr starts with the bleed shadow magic buff active, so you need to, and you can gain the poison, then shock in that order by finishing your combo with a light attack. So medium, light, 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 light. Then you build that first poison, then to shock, then back to bleed, then to poison, then to shock, then back to bleed, to poison, to shock. You want to do that 8 times to get 3 of each. As I said, we'll go into that later into the fights. They're where your real damage comes in. If any of these are prevented, so say if somebody is shock immune, you gain it'll be a bleed, a poison, and a shock, and a degeneration. But if they're a robot, it's a degeneration and a shock, and if they're all 3, then it's 3 degenerations. While shadow magic is active, striking the block also has a chance of putting on that damaging debuff onto the opponent, but you've also got which can help, but you don't really want to play that way. He also has a nice regeneration. You'll see this when fighting him. If inflicted with a buff that he has as a shadow magic buff, so poison, shock, or bleed, he will gain a regeneration for that. He also gains a singular regeneration that doesn't stack when hit. So this is really handy for fights against like Nick Fury. If they accidentally clip you or biohazard, you can be hit. You are able to gain further regeneration, and that can stack really nicely. He also has a really useful ability on his heavy attack, where once every fight, if you've got above 20 damage and debuffs, you throw that heavy, it gives you your max power, and then you can throw that SP3. You'll see why that's so useful in MO. All his special attacks, the shadow magic buffs, are paused. After his SP1, they're all paused for 6 seconds. He also is able to activate all shadow magic buffs if he's a defender. But the SP2 and the SP3 are really the ones you want to utilize the most. On the SP3, you gain a Fury for each unique damage and debuff. So in theory, you can get up to 4 Furies. And then these refresh for any special attack that's thrown by Gorr, which allow them to stay on. And then also, there are 2 ways of playing his SP3. There's one where you can throw it before having lots of debuffs on, and that will allow you to build up those shadow magic buffs before putting those debuffs on. Or there's having loads of damaging debuffs, throwing that heavy attack, getting to max power, and then doing that absolute ton of damage. So that's really it for Gorr's little breakdown. He has some really nice abilities for there. We'll further show these in a minute. He has a few nice synergies, which we'll jump into now. He's got really good ones with Thor, which pauses those shadow magic buff, allow you to build these up more, therefore put more damaging debuffs onto the opponent. One with Herc, which is really handy, allows him to get sort of takes less damage from poisons, and a one with M.L.L.L, giving him another vicious buff for a heavy attack. So really, the main aspect of M.L.L. is to build up shadow magic buffs, a certain number, and then how that corresponding amount of the buffs is then put onto the opponent when you end with a medium attack. So medium, light, medium, medium, medium is the best way to build it. And then the SP3 is sort of as I didn't quite show, you do 319 extra attack rating for each damage and debuff. So if you've got 60, 20 of each, that's a lot of damage. Not going to do the maths, but it's about 180 K of extra attack rating, I believe, which can, it can add up to about 250, 350, depending on how many damage and debuffs you've got. And then finally, a SIG ability, what I've not unlocked, so I can't showcase in this video, is when you gain a shadow magic buff, you also get an undermine. This is perfect for playing against Penny. It's because every time the opponent triggers an auto block, Gorr triggers an unblockable, so he's basically never auto blocked. He also gets increased damaging debuff duration, and the stack of Herses are increased to 4. So let's jump into these videos, break down Gorr a bit further, show you guys how he's useful, and I'll see you guys there. Right guys, so we're at the video now, showing off just, this is a little duel, so you'll see that I don't really do much damage, but there's the degeneration because he's a robot and he's immune. And then here I'll let the thingy hit me. You can see I get the regeneration, and then I would have also got an extra stack of regeneration if I built up to the shadow magic shock buff, but unfortunately if I did that, Warlock would have died. But you can also see that I was immune to I am immune to heal block, but there's me showcasing the regeneration. And as you can see, I got the regeneration, I got the second stack, and that's sort of how it showcases it in bigger fights. This was just quickly to show it before I get on to the classic Winter Soldier fight of both short and long fights. So we'll jump into that now and go through the long fight first. So we'll go through this with just Gorr, no other synergies. As I said, it all corresponds. So here below him, you see there's that first bleed shadow magic buff. I'll finish with a light, it will add the poison. I'll finish with a light again, it will add the shock. You want to continue doing this around 6 times or 8 times to build up 3 of each. While in here, you can throw your SP1 if you need to pause those shadow magic buffs, but that's more of a short rotation, whereas because this is a long one, the way I would like to do it is build up as many as you can up to your SP3, throw your SP3, that will pause all of your shadow magic buffs, which can then allow you to build them further after the SP3, because it will pause it for around 11 seconds. So I want to chuck it, throw this, it will do a little bit of damage, but it won't do as maybe much as you would think. You can see there, not too much, but all my shadow magic buffs are now paused. So really what I should have done was continue to build them. Unfortunately, I did not do that. But you can see I've got 4, so every time I end with a medium, it's adding 4 damage and debuffs onto the Winter Soldier. Then once you've got around over 20, you throw that heavy attack. This supercharges you to your SP3. Throw that SP3. Ideally, the Winter Soldier doesn't throw his SP2, but all of that damage will culminate up into about 160k, as you see there in white numbers. So you can do this. I would say that that's the best rotation. What you can also do is you can build up, do it the same way, building up your shadow magic buffs, throw the SP2 so you get those furies. Once you've got those furies, continue to sort of get your SP3, pause all the shadow magic buffs, build them as much as you can until they start running out. Then start to put as medium, get as many damage and debuffs as you can, throw that heavy attack, and that should do around 250, 260 damage with just a rank 2. As you see, the Winter Soldier finishes here, but that's more of a short fight. That fight didn't take very long. Obviously, it's a Winter Soldier, so he's not got loads of health, but I would say that's sort of the best way. I'll leave a list in the description of how best to play the short and long fight, but here we'll jump into the short one. Here, you want to medium, light, obviously. Again, get up to around 3 shadow magic buffs. 3 is very, very easy now after his buff, especially if you've got him SIG 200. That's 4 is very, very easy. Get up to 2 of each. Throw his SP2 to get those furies. And then continue to build them up to 3, as I said. So here, what I should have done is throw in the SP2. But there I do. So continue to build it. Sorry, I couldn't quite remember the order that I had it in. Here you can see all of them are paused for a minute. So I want to continue building them, get to 3 of each, then start putting, pause them with the SP1. This is just short fight to use all the health because you don't need to build your SP3. Bait is special, obviously, and then start to medium. This will put all of the damage and debuffs on him, allow you to get to way above 20, and then once you feel like you've got enough, once you're happy with the amount you've got, once you think it will sort of suffice for the damage that he has, you can heavy attack, SP3, and you'll see how much damage that can do now. So you can see I had 10 bleeds, 11 shocks, and 14 poisons. That will do just in a quick little fight. This fight took about a minute. You'll see his health absolutely 122k. So, you know, that's a large amount for not the you know, I didn't play that perfectly. I could have done much better. But even then you see that I'm able to get that damage out, and it sort of works perfectly. So that will sort of do it for this video. I'll leave a list of how best to play Gorr in the comments down below or in the description. Check that out. If you've got any questions in the comments, do let me know. Hopefully this has been clear enough. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.